This is where we decode what's really shaping transformation in business, tech, and leadership. In this episode, we're unpacking a silent but costly issue: personalization that doesn't resonate. You've got the AI tools, but your customers still feel unseen. We'll explore why even the smartest systems fall short, how scale dilutes intent, and what real connection looks like in the AI era. Now let's join your hosts.
Okay, let's unpack this. Here's a statement that probably resonates, maybe a bit uncomfortably, with a lot of senior marketing and strategy leaders right now. We're living in this age of AI, right? We're investing heavily in these incredibly powerful models, GPT-4o, Claude, Gemini, you name it. And the goal, the big promise, is delivering truly personalized customer experiences at scale. And yet, for all that tech power, all that effort, the content going out often still feels, well, surprisingly generic. It's like the scale part is working, but the actual connection, that resonance, it's just not quite there. Almost an illusion of personalization.
That disconnect, yeah, that's hitting home hard for leaders. You hear it, you see the symptoms, things like customers just getting worn out by campaigns,
Yeah.
campaign fatigue, or engagement rates kind of plateauing, or even dipping down. And this feeling, this persistent gap between all the sophisticated data work, the segmentation, the AI power, and actually creating interactions that feel genuinely meaningful to people. It's a real frustration.
It really is. You've got the tools, you're drilling down into these tiny segments, maybe even trying for that audience of one, and still the person on the other end, they don't really feel seen. They feel like they're getting, I don't know, a slightly better automated message, not something truly personal.
Exactly, not a connection.
So our mission today for this deep dive, we're going to draw only from the insights in a specific report. This report looks closely at how generative AI is being used for personalization and, maybe more importantly, the real-world hurdles in actually implementing it effectively. We want to figure out why this is happening. Why is personalization at scale often falling short on resonance, even with all this AI? And crucially, what does this analysis suggest is the practical way forward?
Yeah, this report is useful because it tries to cut through some of the hype. It looks at the promise, sure, but then really digs into the theoretical side, the considerations, the best practices that seem to separate the efforts that actually connect from the ones that just feel flat.
Okay, so let's start with that promise. Because the pressure to personalize is intense. Partly, it's customer demand, isn't it? The report cites this stat. 71% of consumers actually expect personalized interactions now. And maybe even more telling, 76% get actively frustrated when they don't get them. So leaders aren't just thinking segments anymore. They're really pushed towards reaching millions, but individually. True personalization at scale.
And generative AI, well, it showed up looking like the key to unlock exactly that. Models like OpenAI's GPT-4, Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini, the report specifically calls these out. They have this potential to really revolutionize the customer experience because they can produce content, text, images, you name it, that sounds incredibly human, and they can do it at a speed and volume that was just unthinkable before. This capability is what makes that whole idea of hyper-personalization, reaching that audience of one with perfectly tailored stuff, seem actually achievable.
The report does highlight their specific strengths too, right? Like GPT-4's fluency, almost human level. And Claude being noted for sounding natural, conversational, and handling huge amounts of context. You can feed it a lot of background.
Exactly. And Gemini's multimodal ability, understanding, and generating across text, images, etc., plus its integration in the Google ecosystem, these are powerful tools.
And it seems customers are, well, kind of ready for this. The report mentions 61% of U.S. consumers have already used tools like ChatGPT or Gemini for shopping help.
Yeah, and even more, 71% want generative AI integrated into how they shop. So it's not just companies pushing it. There's a definite pull from consumers too.
Which makes sense why AI implementation is the #1 priority for marketers globally, according to that Salesforce report mentioned in the analysis. And there are early signs of success. Companies boosting LinkedIn ad conversions by 15% with AI copy.
Or cutting service response times by, 90% with AI support? The potential is clearly there in specific applications. Those early wins are tangible.
Okay, so that brings us right back to the core puzzle. If the tech is so powerful and customers are basically asking for it, why are so many of these AI-powered personalization efforts still resulting in, well, zero resonance, as we put it? What's the actual barrier here? What's preventing that scale from translating into real connection?
Right. If it feels like you're talking to me, why does it often still feel like you're talking to a database profile that kind of looks like me? What's missing in translation?
Exactly.
Well, the analysis draws a really critical distinction here. Achieving true resonance. It's not just about having the latest, greatest AI model. It fundamentally comes down to how you put it into practice. It depends on addressing these specific factors the report lays out as essential best practices. And overlooking these critical factors, that seems to be exactly why so many efforts, even with big AI investments, end up feeling generic or just off.
Okay, let's get into those factors then. The report highlights these best practices, or maybe the pitfalls if you ignore them. Where do things tend to go wrong first?
The first one, and you could argue it's the absolute bedrock, is the data foundation. The report is really clear on this. AI personalization is only ever going to be as good as the data you feed it. Simple as that.
The garbage in, garbage out, basically.
Pretty much. Think of it like,
Yeah.
imagine AI is a brilliant portrait artist, but you hand them a blurry, incomplete photo. They can paint something, sure, maybe technically perfect based on general features, but it won't cap its unique spark, the nuance, the person. It won't resonate. To do that, the artist needs a clear, detailed picture.
Okay, I get the analogy.
So similarly, for AI to really understand an individual and create something relevant, something that resonates, it needs good data. That means robust, clean, unified customer data. Without a solid CRM or maybe a customer data platform, a CDP, to bring everything together, to break down those silos, use analytics properly, capture feedback, focus on good first-party data, the AI is just working in the dark. It can generate endless variations, but if it lacks the specific context of that customer's history, their preferences, their current situation, the output feels generic because, well, it is generic. It's based on patchy information. The report flags this as best practice 1. It's truly foundational.
Right, so all the amazing generative power doesn't mean much if the input is weak. It sounds like maybe companies skipped a step trying to build a fancy roof before laying the solid foundation.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, what's next? If you have the data, what else can derail resonance?
Well, even with good data, another huge factor the analysis points to is a lack of strategic alignment. This falls under best practice 7. Basically, AI personalization can't just be some isolated tech project run by IT or a specific marketing team. It needs to be tightly woven into the overall brand strategy, the bigger picture of the customer experience you're trying to create. If you're just using AI to, say, churn out more message variations without a clear strategy for how that personalization genuinely adds value for the customer.
From their perspective.
Exactly, from their perspective. Then it's probably not going to resonate. The report really hammers this point. You're always asked, is this adding real value? If the personalization doesn't serve the customer somehow or doesn't reinforce the brand relationship, it's just contributing to the noise.
That makes a lot of sense. It's the difference between can we personalize this and should we personalize this and does it fit the overall journey?
Precisely. Then there's a really crucial human element that often gets overlooked. Insufficient human oversight and a lack of clear guidelines. That's best practice 3. The report is very direct here. AI is not perfect. It makes mistakes. It can hallucinate, generating inaccurate information, or weird or off-brand or awkward, without a human in the loop, especially early on, to review, refine, approve outputs. Or maybe even more critically, if you don't give the AI very clear instructions, your brand voice, style guides, compliance rules, the stuff it generates can feel inconsistent, impersonal, or even factually wrong. And that just kills resonance instantly.
So the humans aren't replaced at all. Their role shifts, maybe. They become more like curators, strategists, guiding the AI to sound like us and talk to our customers the right way.
Exactly. It's a partnership.
Yeah.
And tied closely to the data piece is the very tricky area of privacy and trust. This is best practice 4. Some call it the personalization paradox, using customer data in a way that feels invasive or just plain creepy. That's probably the quickest way to destroy trust and any chance of resonance.
Ah, the creepy factor.
Yeah.
We've all felt that, I think.
We have. Genuine personalization, the kind that resonates, needs transparency about how data is used. And it needs to be clear that the personalization is actually for the customer's benefit, not just to sell them something harder. If it feels like the company knows a bit too much or uses data in a way that feels purely transactional, not helpful, people pull back. They disengage. The report stresses protecting privacy, complying with rules like GDPR or CCPA, giving customers control. Trust is everything here.
It's that fine line between feeling helped and feeling watched. Crucial distinction.
It really is. Okay, another big hurdle identified is inadequate training and change management. That's best practice 5. Just dropping sophisticated AI tools onto teams isn't enough. marketing, sales, service folks, they need to learn how to work effectively with the AI. This means understanding things like prompt engineering, how to actually ask the AI for what you need in the right way. And it requires a bit of a mindset shift, doesn't it? From creating everything manually to becoming skilled curators and refiners of AI-generated drafts without that investment in upskilling, in managing the change. That essential human touch, the creativity, the judgment that adds warmth, that can get lost. Or the AI just doesn't get used to its full potential. The report says to treat AI like a collaborator.
Right. So the tech is only as good as the people who are empowered and trained to use it effectively.
Couldn't have said it better. And finally, the report warns against focusing only on volume over actual value. This ties into best practice 6. Measurement. Just cranking out millions of personalized messages isn't the goal if they aren't actually improving things. Driving better outcomes, higher engagement, better conversions, more satisfied customers. Success means continuously measuring the impact, the resonance, not just counting the outputs. Leaders need solid monitoring, A/B testing, a real commitment to refining the approach based on data, finding what's not working. It has to be a constant test and learn cycle. Otherwise, you're just scaling generic content more efficiently. You're not actually scaling resonance.
Wow. Okay, that paints a much clearer, maybe more sobering picture of why that initial frustration exists. It sounds like the challenge isn't really the AI itself, but this whole complex ecosystem around it. The data, the strategy, the human element, trust, training, measuring.
That seems to be the core message, yes.
But the report does offer some hope. It highlights examples where companies are getting this right, where they are building connection. Let's shift to those. Where is generative AI actually working well?
Yes, absolutely. The report shares some really compelling examples that show what's possible when companies tackle these challenges effectively. In marketing, for instance, dynamic content creation is a big win area. We're talking about using AI to generate maybe thousands of variations of an email or a landing page, tailoring them to really specific microsegments, not just swapping out a name, but customizing the copy, the offer, maybe even the visuals, and the results. Significantly higher open and click rates. Vanguard, for example, saw a 15% lift in LinkedIn ad conversions just using AI-generated copy variations. Coca-Cola has mentioned using GPT-4 and visual AI like DLALA to create personalized ad creative.
So it's moving beyond just text generation now. Creating custom visuals on the fly with AI, that feels like a significant step up in tailoring.
It really is. And it allows for truly hyper-personalized campaigns. There's a powerful example in the report about Hatch working with the agency Monks. They used Google's Gemini to automatically generate personalized ad content for different customer groups at scale. And the business results were pretty staggering. 80% higher click-through rates, 46% more engaged visitors, a 31% better cost per purchase, all while saving huge amounts of time and money on actually creating the content.
Wow. Those are concrete numbers. That shows when it's done right, the impact isn't just theoretical, it's very real.
Undeniable. And the creative side is interesting too. Kraft Heinz apparently used models like Imagen and VO/campaign content creation time from what normally took maybe 8 weeks down to just 8 hours for customized visuals, video snippets.
It's to hours. That's transformative.
It is. And Coca-Cola's Create Real Magic campaign let people generate their own creative using AI, which fosters a different kind of connection, more participatory. These examples show AI enabling creative personalization at a speed we just haven't seen before.
Okay, so marketing's seeing big gains. What about on the sales side? Is it helping there too?
Definitely. In sales, AI is becoming a real force multiplier, especially for personalized outreach that used to be incredibly time-consuming. Things like automated research and drafting personalized emails. There's a startup mentioned, Clay, that uses Claude AI to scan the web for specific details about a prospect. Maybe they were just on a podcast or wrote a blog post or mentioned a hobby somewhere, and then it drafts a personalized sales email that references that specific thing. And users of Clay specifically said the emails from Claude sound more human and natural than previous AI attempts. That level of informed personalization, that would take a human salesperson quite a bit of research time. Now can happen almost instantly.
Right. That's the kind of email that makes you pause and think, okay, this person actually did their homework, not just scrape my title.
Exactly that feeling. And Microsoft 365 Copilot is cited as saving sellers around 200 hours a year, just by helping draft personalized emails, summarize meetings, track follow-ups. And a global bank apparently saw a 5% lift in conversions just by giving reps AI-generated call scripts and email templates tailored to the customer data.
So Significant time savings plus better results, that's the compelling combo.
It is. And we shouldn't forget customer service virtual assistants chatbots. They're getting much better. Accenture implemented AI agents for retail clients, offering more conversational, helpful self-service. Uber used AI to summarize long customer support histories for their human reps. So when you finally talk to a person, they instantly have the context. Much smoother. Unilever apparently cut service response times by a massive 90% using AI support.
That's great for the customer, faster help, and obviously more efficient for the company.
Yes.
A clear win-win.
So all these examples, marketing boosting engagement, sales improving conversion, service speeding up resolution, they really illustrate the report's core idea. AI as a multiplicative force. Yash Tekriwal from Clay is quoted saying AI lets teams do more with the same level of resources and do better at higher quality. The successful uses aren't just automating things away, they're augmenting the human strategy, the creativity, the empathy. They're enabling teams to deliver interactions that feel genuinely tailored, not just automatically generated.
Okay, so we've covered the high hopes, the very real practical hurdles, and seeing these examples where companies are bridging that gap and making AI personalization actually connect. So for senior leaders listening now, thinking about their own AI investments, how do they move beyond just generating more stuff and actually achieve that genuine resonance at scale? What's the key takeaway, the path forward suggested by this analysis?
I think the core mandate, pulling together the conclusion and those best practices we walk through, is really this. Success isn't automatic just because you adopt a powerful model like GPT-4o or Claude or Gemini. It depends entirely on the thoughtful, strategic, and importantly, human-centric way you apply it.
So it's not about the engine's horsepower. It's about how you actually drive the car.
Exactly. It requires deliberately combining that cutting-edge tech with your unique, deep knowledge of your customers. It means nurturing human creativity alongside the AI and maintaining that rigorous oversight. Practically, leaders need to look hard at their foundations. Prioritize getting that clean, unified data layer sorted out first. That's non-negotiable. Don't try to boil the ocean. Start with smaller, manageable pilot projects. Learn fast. Iterate. Crucially, keep humans in the loop. Define crystal clear guidelines for the AI brand, voice, tone, compliance. Tackle privacy head on. Build trust through transparency and delivering real value. Invest seriously in training your team's marketing, sales, service on how to partner with AI effectively. See it as a collaborator, not just a tool. And finally, shift that measurement focus. Move away from just counting outputs towards tracking real business outcomes and, critically, customer resonance.
So it really is an integrated transformation. It touches data, tech, people, strategy, measurement. It's not just applying a new piece of software.
Precisely. And the report's most crucial insight, the one that speaks directly back to that initial frustration, is that personalization isn't just about automation anymore. It's fundamentally about achieving resonance. And doing that successfully at scale in this AI era, it absolutely demands this blended approach. You need strategy, you need empathy, and you need to leverage AI as a powerful partnership to augment human capabilities. The goal is to let humans be more personal, more efficient, not less. The success stories show AI empowering humans to build deeper connections, not replacing them.
This has been incredibly insightful, really digging into the reality behind the AI personalization buzz, the promise, the pitfalls, and that practical path forward, all grounded in this analysis.
I think the main reflective takeaway for any leader wrestling with this is pretty clear. Building personalization that truly resonates at scale today. It's not just a technical puzzle. It's profoundly a strategic challenge, and a human one. It demands integrating AI thoughtfully, keeping an unwavering focus on empathy and genuine customer value, and consciously nurturing that critical partnership between human insight and AI capability.
And the report does leave us with a pretty compelling final thought, doesn't it? A massive opportunity for those who navigate this correctly. Personalization, done with this kind of care and strategic focus, it's potentially the most exciting and most profitable outcome of the emerging AI boom. But, and it's a big but, only for companies that truly make it a strategic priority and execute it with that careful blend of technology, humanity, and unwavering customer focus. That seems to be the challenge and the real mandate for leaders right now.
It's a huge prize, absolutely. But it hinges on building those right foundations and never losing sight of that genuine connection.
A powerful thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure. Thank you.